I'm Greg Prince, co-founder of Madison House Autism Foundation. When our son Madison was in middle school, we realized that at the age of 21, he would fall off a cliff, that the support system that was there for him during school would disappear at that magical age, and that right at that point, there was nothing else for him to go to. Our entire focus of the foundation is the number 5.5 million. That's how many autistic adults there are in this country. Everything that we do is involved in policies and programs to try to assist these people to have a full and productive life and to give assistance to their families and to the other caregivers. We're deeply appreciative for the support that you have given to Madison House over the past 17 years.
And I'm Jalynn Prince, and I'm heading the organization as president and board chair. And we are working very hard and doing some rather remarkable things. And during the process of the morning, we will be telling you more about our work. And the reason that we have these Autism After 21 breakfasts has been primarily to educate thought leaders and also elected officials about what autism is and isn't. So when decisions are being made either in the boardroom or they're being made in the county council or even on a legislative area, that there is more information about what the issues are so people can make decisions being informed and not guessing, and also learning how to include those with disabilities and autism in the conversations. We would like to encourage you to check our chat during the process of the morning. Feel free to submit some questions, and we have people in the wings that will be answering them, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. I will mention that if we are unable to get to your question, we may answer it on our social media at a later date. So please feel free to enter your questions now. I would like to introduce a lovely woman who is really a powerhouse as well. It is April McClain Delaney, who is our new representative for our district where Madison Fields is located. She's been very busy on the Hill for the last several weeks as she enters into her new term. We would like to welcome Representative Delaney.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise to recognize the incredible work of the Madison House Autism Foundation, particularly through the Madison Fields program in my district in Montgomery County, Maryland. As we observe Autism Awareness Month, we celebrate the progress that we have all made with individuals on the autism spectrum. However, we have to acknowledge the work still to be done. Madison Fields provides a vital space where adults with autism gain job skills, build independence, and experience a sense of community. Located in the heart of the agricultural reserve, Madison Fields offers hands-on experiences, whether it's caring for animals or working in the soapery, that foster independence, relationships, and personal growth. The success of Madison House relies heavily on the support of critical agencies like the NIH and the CDC, whose research on autism is essential for informing data-backed best practices. Moreover, we must support the Department of Education to ensure that students with autism continue to have educational opportunities. As a member of Congress, I'm committed to supporting organizations like Madison House and ensuring continuing funding for proven research. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you so much for your comments today, Representative Delaney. As we move on, I would like to also acknowledge a few other people, our board of directors who have been so absolutely amazing. And we have two of them who have been our co-chairs, Anne Boland and Prabha Padarabarman, and they have been absolutely amazing in helping us try to anticipate the things that they feel they would like to have known about their adults with autism and disabilities. And thank you very, very much, Anne and Prabha. I would like to start the video portion of this with something from one of our partners, but I think it pertains very much to all of the leaders here and all of the business owners. And whenever you're making decisions in the community, And this is from our partners from the National Down Syndrome Association in the UK. And it is a very powerful, even though brief, message.
I want to be when the decisions are made.
What should Sophia wear for your brother's wedding?
I think this dress could be really nice.
Or maybe this one a little less formal.
It pairs well with her beautiful smile. I want to be when this decision is made. Where this decision is made. I want to have a say in the dress that I wear. Don't you think that it's fair? Let me have a look at these clothes. You want the truth? I don't like any of those.
The objective of this meeting is to approve this new proposal for an elegant and functional train station.
I want to be where this decision is made. Where this decision is made. If I'm here, I can help you recall that what's right for some isn't always right for all.
Here's the new place for all supplies. You might not realize that for me it's too high.
When you do this, you got to dash.
Our info points now have touch screens.
It's great for those who are able to see.
During my term, we'll write new laws.
Fun will impact us all.
So give her the seat too.
We want to be where the decisions are made. Where the decisions are made. It's time for us to be the one and three. Where the decisions are made.
This is what I'll wear.
I think that is a tremendous message that has been given to us, because far too often there are decisions being made about people without them being in the room. It is very important for us to have representation and get the authentic voices so we're not guessing at what people need or want or what could help them reach their fullest potential. But we can be of service to others if we know exactly what the role is that we should be filling and how we can work together. And we're much stronger when we do work together. Next, I would like to tell you a little bit about the project that we're doing in Utah. This is my home state, and it happens to have been the state, the CDC thinks would have been the most appropriate to have a project like the one that we are staging. We've been in the area for about 3 years, and we are working with the thought leaders there and doing major surveys throughout the state, trying to find out what the needs and wants of individuals, family members, and caregivers happen to be. We are working on 2 levels. One is with large surveys throughout the state, and the other is probably the most important in a way, because it is the on-the-ground work. We're going into every community and helping to identify the families in those communities, whether it's urban, suburban, rural, remote, or even tribal areas. We are learning so very much by going in and identifying individuals and families that are living with autism and having them come together and identify things within their communities that they feel that they would like to have. So there can be greater inclusion and a sense of belonging. And belonging happens to be the theme of this morning. The other portion of going into the community is working with the mayors and the town councils and the county commissioners to inform them with a series of communications over many months about what autism is and isn't, very much like this morning. So they can get together with these families, identify the challenges within their communities that they are capable of rectifying on a community level. This is tremendous empowerment. I remember some of the things about all politics are local. Well, I think all solutions that can be challenging for any other group to conquer are conquered on the local level and within community. Christy has been a partner of ours, Christy Chambers from Columbus Community Center in Salt Lake. She is heading one of the most well-respected and largest organizations in the state, working with providing for individuals with disabilities. She has been a partner of ours. She is a colleague and a friend, and I would like to have her speak to you for a few moments.
Alrighty, good morning, everyone. My name is Christy Chambers, and I'm the CEO with Columbus Community Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we are a large disability service provider that has been around for over 50 years, serving our community for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. About 10 years ago, we embarked on addressing the needs of adults on the autism spectrum and developed a program called Next Work. We also built a large affordable housing complex that provides transitional housing for those on the autism spectrum, but it is an integrated setting with 157 apartment units that allows people not only with intellectual and developmental disabilities, but also adults on the autism spectrum to live fully integrated in our communities. We also offer independent living skills as well as a job placement, and we teach them the necessary skills to be as independent as possible in our community here in Salt Lake City. I became aware of Madison House Autism Foundation about 8 years ago and was just so taken with their work. They are here in Utah with the Autism After 21 project, and they really did some remarkable things. The intention of this Autism After 21 was to really use Utah as a prototype for other communities in understanding how to build partnerships, build a blueprint that could be successful, taking both the legislature, universities, service providers, leaders in the autism field, and bringing them together around problem solving for what happens when somebody turns 21 and needs additional support so that they can live a full and purposeful life. What I think impressed me most was their ability to gather all of these influencers and pull together a really good initiative, which was well structured, supported by research studies that were scientifically vetted. In launching this, they were able to engage our governor, Spencer Cox, and he introduced Autism After 21 as a multi-year, first ever statewide partnership comprised of the Beehive State's preeminent organizations, autism advocates, and individual leaders in all sectors. The goal of the collaboration is to prevent homelessness and displacement, foster inclusivity, and ensure adults with autism have their families have a place in our community. Throughout the course of these efforts, 2 studies have been published. One is a community tool which gave actual actionable steps as far as what communities can do to engage the leadership, promote the leadership, and then really make movement in measurable ways of supporting those over 21 on the spectrum. That led to an additional study, and that was the Neuro-inclusive housing market analysis, which was a blueprint to understanding what type of housing needed to be built, what features in that housing should be a part of it, what the requirements are. The survey included not only service providers and parents, but it also included those on the spectrum as well. What I have appreciated most about these studies is there's actionable items that you can follow up on. So there's to-do steps and next steps, and how do you engage with all of the necessary study and research that goes along with giving it credibility and teeth, so to speak, to engage those policy decision makers. As mentioned, this was an initiative to really form a blueprint, and Salt Lake City was an ideal candidate for it because we are very collaborative in our city, in our community. So we work well together. We work across, academia, service providers. It's still a small enough community that we know each other, and we've created our own ecosystem, so to speak, so that we can collaborate and not compete. Recently, we were asked to participate nationally in workforce development, where we're establishing ecosystems and mapping those out. Well, Autism After 21 has already done that here, and I think we have a lot to share with other communities now as a result of the wonderful, wonderful work that has been already created by Autism After 21. I am so proud proud to be a part of this, really doing what is moving the impact needle, not only here in our community, but also can be very well translated into other communities.
Christy, thank you so very much. You're always so thoughtful and enlightening, and it is a pleasure to be able to work with you. I would like to now introduce Will Jawando, and I've had the opportunity of knowing him for a while, and he is on our county council and is the vice chair of the Montgomery County Council right now. He has an interesting background and has studied law and was also the deputy director of the community engagement at the Obama White House. And he has been in local politics for a number of years now. He is also a parent, and we will be hearing from him. And please take it away. Will, thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's Will Jawando. I'm the Council Vice President and Chair of Montgomery County's Education and Culture Committee. I'm honored to be with you today and have the chance to speak with you during this virtual iteration of the Madison House Autism After 21 breakfast. In past years, it's been a joy to gather with you in person, with community advocates, to be in the same room together, surrounded by great art, a palpable energy, and spirit. We're not doing that this year, but we're doing something that's pretty cool. And so wherever you are this morning, I hope you can conjure that same electric atmosphere around you. And yes, even this early in the morning, because we're talking about a very important topic. It's Autism Acceptance Month. And even when we're not physically together, I know we can find encouragement and hope in the knowledge that great work is being done on a daily, weekly, hourly, monthly, and yearly basis in our community to support all people with intellectual and developmental disabilities like autism. As the father to my middle daughter, Addison, who's on the autism spectrum, I know firsthand the beauty, the complexity, and just the curiosity, how she often interacts with the world around her, and how we as parents have to help her navigate that, to make space for her and children and adults like her who are working to communicate or learn to move through this life in this world differently. Not less, not better, but differently. I've also seen how when we do make that space, when we do help her navigate, when we lead with empathy, when we listen, incredible, amazing, and beautiful things happen. I'm often reminded about this when Addison tells me something that is just so true that it hits you right to the core. I think that's something special that folks with autism often do. It doesn't limit her in any way. I tell her all the time, we tell her all the time, anything you want to do is possible. And I tell the neurotypical population like myself that it's our job to expand the idea of what ability looks like. As Jalen so powerfully says, ability does not define capability. It does not predict the future. And when we stop limiting our understanding what someone can do, we start opening the doors to what they will do. That shift, though subtle, is so important. And it's what Autism Acceptance Month and this breakfast in Madison House are really all about. It's what allows our children to grow into themselves, more capable, stable, ready to define their own future on their own terms. And that's why this organization, this event is so important. And we know that that doesn't end when school ends. That's a lifelong journey. It's the work of Autism After 21. It's why it's so critical. Too often, families lose support when their children transition into adulthood, but that's exactly when they need it most. This isn't just about services. It's about dignity. It's about respect. It's about love. It's about building systems that help people on the spectrum live a full, meaningful, empowered life at every age. In our home, we felt the impact of this in every direction. Addison's siblings grow in ways that we don't expect. And they're working on patience and this very acceptance that I'm talking about, more compassion, more fierceness in their love. As parents, you hold the joy and worry in the same breath. You know, we often talk about being a parent is like wearing your heart on the outside of your chest. It's so sensitive. Will the world understand my child? Will they treat them with care? When they get older, will they be able to navigate the world around them with the opportunity and the respect they deserve? All things that we all share. And that's why this work is so important. These concerns grow louder as kids get older and head adulthood. And as we face national debates about education and disability services, and we deal with real world funding challenges, many of us are wondering, what will happen if we lose these support services? I was in Annapolis, I know probably with many of you, advocating for restoration of cuts to individuals with developmental disabilities. This is not the time, it's never the time to move backwards. We've got to move forward for our families and for our children. It's why I've worked hard to support policies that reflect real everyday needs of our families, like Eric's ID law, which finally passed. And I want to thank Linda Grantham Carpenter and her son Eric. This will allow folks with invisible disabilities like autism to voluntarily note that on their state ID. It's a simple step, but it could be a difference between a misunderstanding and safety during an enforcement encounter with law enforcement. For parents like Linda, like me, this is more than about policy. For folks that are listening to this breakfast and participating this morning, it's about peace of mind. It's about protecting our kids and making sure they can transition to adulthood. And it's why, again, these breakfasts are so important, because they remind us that the work continues, not just among advocates, but with people who hold the power to change things. And I promise to keep showing up for this work because I know how much it matters, not only for Addison, but for your family, for your children, for your loved ones, to make sure that they have the support, respect, and acceptance that they need. So enjoy this breakfast, enjoy this week, enjoy this month, and let's keep doing the work. To every family watching, know that you're not alone. I see you, I'm with you, and I believe in your loved one's limitless potential. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for your comments. I hope this points out one other thing too, that sometimes you may not know who it is that has autism in their household. And sometimes it's important to allow a bit of grace at times, because there are needs that often ebb and flow. And if we're all good neighbors and are sensitive towards one another's needs, I think we will have gone a long way. Now we're coming to a phase in our programming that is very local for Marylanders. We want to tell you more about the farm that was bequeathed to us in Dickerson, Maryland. Its name is Madison Fields. There's a number of important things that are happening there. We basically have 3 areas. We're working in Utah, we're working nationally with policy, and we have Madison Fields. We have a delightful video for you to look at and see more about what happens in Madison Fields. And we have a new structure that the state helped us build that will be for events for our population, but at other times it will be available for corporate events and for weddings, and also helping with our job readiness training and the various things that we offer for our clientele.
You can't see this from the road. It's kind of tucked away amidst trees and kind of rolling hills. And it is a getaway that is so absolutely amazing because you don't have the hustle and bustle that we find in the rest of the county.
Nestled deep in the agricultural reserve is a farm founded to be an agricultural resource providing wellness, opportunity, and connection for all members of the community. The farm was launched by the founders of Madison House Autism Foundation. For co-founder Jalynn Prince, it is a venture that comes straight from her heart.
We inquired about what needed to be done in the autism space because we have a son who was speeding his way into adulthood. And we were told that there was very little being done at that time for adults on the autism spectrum. We wanted to do something where we addressed the things that were going to be important in adulthood, starting with socialization, job readiness, education, belonging, learning life skills, a number of things that had not really been concentrated on, or what to do during the day. And as we formulated our organization, We named it after our son, Madison, so it's Madison House Autism Foundation, and this is Madison Fields.
Madison Fields is 275 acres of beautifully serene scenery in the shadow of Sugarloaf Mountain.
And we bring individuals here that are on the autism spectrum to make certain that they find a place in community.
Madison Fields provides a variety of services to enhance the lives of adults on the autism spectrum and with other special needs. But its wide variety of facilities and activities are open to all, bringing everyone in the community together in its bucolic country locale.
There is a soapery where we make goat's milk soap, and it is marketed throughout the community. Some of the soap that we make, it is done by folks who are on the autism spectrum or with neurodivergence. They go through the full process of making soap. They learn a number of skills. We have something called the milk parlor, which is good for small corporate gatherings and for team building. There is a farmhouse that is wonderful for brides to get ready if there's a wedding here. We've had dinners, we've had different types of celebrations there. And recently we've had 2 structures that we had some funds from the state to redo a historic barn, a very old barn, and make it appropriate to have various events there. This is our newest addition. It happened to arrive last November, and it is our pavilion. You can see the extremely gorgeous view from the hill where it is, because you can look over into the Blue Ridge. And it's a space that we're going to have for weddings. We have riding stables where we keep our horses, but we also have boarders there. This area is very much horse country.
You can bring them out over onto the grass, so that way the gravel doesn't bother you.
So the riders here really enjoy the trails. And this is our riding arena. The gentleman that had this building designed wanted to make certain that people with physical challenges could also access riding horses. So we have this wonderful ramp right here that enables people to be able to get on horses. Yeah. How are you doing today, huh? We have numerous horses, and we've had a lot of people in recent years with our therapeutic riding.
Good job steering. Good, you got it.
We're doing a lot with equine therapy. Many of our job readiness program participants will get to brush horses, lead horses, interact with horses, and it's amazing how enabling horses are in giving people confidence to try things that they may not try on their own otherwise. And there's something about the reciprocity of people caring for the horses and the horses responding so beautifully to people. And then we have another building that is going to be turning into a place for job readiness, working with woodwork and taking furniture and repurposing it. So there's a lot of benefits that come from here.
Through these amenities, Madison Fields works to form bonds between people on the autism spectrum and the general community.
We are very interested in bringing people from the community here because we feel that what they learn here about autism and demystifying it, they will take back into the community, back at their dinner tables and conversation. So it really is a community building situation.
Madison Fields is grateful for financial and other assistance from Montgomery County, the state of Maryland, donors, and volunteers. And they are very happy to pay that generosity forward for the community.
It's been helpful to have some of the community grants through the county council. We have been able to do something else for the community, which is Ag Ed. And we have brought school groups here to teach them about agriculture. And it is amazing how little some of these children know about agriculture. When they find out where eggs really do come from, when they visit our chicken coop, there's a lot of surprised looks. They learn about chickens, they may learn about goats, sheep, They may come out in the fall and paint pumpkins, go on a hayride around here, and have an opportunity to experience something that's different than in the classroom. And we love our ag ed. And then we've had some support in doing our job readiness programs, because that's going to help some people gain employment so they can be taxpayers, so they can have a space in this world, so they can have something to look forward to in the mornings and a place to go with other people and work side by side with others.
I enjoy the therapy that I get from these wonderful animals. It's a learning experience each day, and I learn something new each day from them.
And we have a garden. We have something called a high tunnel, as some people will call it a greenhouse. And during the era of COVID, we partnered with a group in Poolsville, and we were able to raise about 6 tons of food that went into food banks to help those that were food insecure. And so we have had the opportunity to give back to the community that gives to us.
By cultivating an environment for wellness, opportunity, and connection, Madison Fields is moving the community forward toward achieving our fullest potential.
We've got beautiful scenery for health and wellness and animals and all sorts of exciting things.
I hope you like the footage that we had of Madison Fields. It is a wonderful place, and so many people have come there, have found it to be relaxing, comforting, health promoting, and for our population, I think it serves a number of other needs too, because there is a sense of belonging and a sense of community. And we try to include community in so many of the things that we do. Whether a group comes out and spends time there, either volunteering or working on a project, or just having a chance to get a good deep breath of fresh air at the farm. But I will say, farms are challenging to keep up. And we have many more people requesting coming out to work with us. And during this particular time, it has been rather challenging, especially with the pullback that there has been with funding for organizations like ours across the country. We had hoped that we were going to get a fair amount of support for this next while, and those funds have been cut through the continuing resolution. And we need help now more than ever, so we will be able to serve those on the farm and continue with our work, because it is so important. And as you can see, it's important to have things on the ground, but we also need to have sound policy, and we need to have people willing to hire individuals. So it all comes together in so many ways. And we were the first organization in the nation to address adulthood comprehensively. There were good things, but they were spotty, and it was just one aspect of adulthood and not the whole lifespan. And we've been addressing that. And now there's a lot more conversation. There are a lot more opportunities happening, but nowhere near enough to accommodate the 5.5 million people that my husband referenced earlier in this program. Please join with us. If it is $21 a month, if it is a larger gift, whatever you can would be tremendously appreciated. And it will be going into directly helping others and helping adults with autism who have challenges but want a place to belong. I now would like to introduce Desiree Kamika Galloway. We have worked together for a very long time, over a decade and a half now, and she has become the expert on disability housing for autism and neurodiversity. She is well respected across the country. I'm a very capable and delightful person, as you will see. And she has advice for how to work with housing issues. And she heads the Autism Housing Network. And she also has a consulting firm, which she is the lead advisor with. She has worked across the country, has traveled to over 250 different housing sites, worked with numerous cities and towns, and is helping us do surveys about the needs and wants of housing in all of the areas that I had mentioned before. I'd like to now turn the time over to my friend and colleague, Desiree Kamika Galloway.
Good morning. I am so excited that you have decided to join the Autism After 21 breakfast. My name is Desiree Kamika Galloway. I have worked for the Madison House Autism Foundation for nearly 2 decades. When we first started, Madison House Autism Foundation invested in traveling across the country to be able to see what are people doing related to housing? Where is innovation happening? How did these founders make it happen? I am proud to say that we have made significant progress in the last 20 years. We have fought against restrictive regulations. We have created a robust autism housing network to give people information that they need with over 10,000 visitors every month. We've created a foundational report called the A Place in the World Report that provided shared language so that the housing industry, the service industry, and consumers can work together towards discussing solutions. I've realized that it's not just about a roof over one's head. My friend Daniel, I used to be his host home provider. He lived with my husband and I. This is common way for adults with autism and other intellectual and developmental disabilities to receive services as adults. It's somewhat like adult foster care. When he moved in with us, we learned how to go to the grocery store. We learned how to drive. We learned how to have appropriate relationships. We had a lot of fun. Daniel eventually moved out and hit the jackpot. He has his own apartment. He now drives. He has employment with great benefits in a job that matches his interests. On paper, it seems like he has everything. I got a call from Daniel not too long ago, and he said, "Hey, Desi, what's going on?" Daniel struggles with suicidal ideation. And there were multiple times when he lived with us where we had to hide sharps and kind of be on watch when he was being challenged with these intrusive thoughts. And I said, "Well, what happened? Why didn't you call? What's going on?" And in those moments, he just kind of freezes. It's really hard for him to think about, well, where is my support system? Who could I reach out to? And so he ended up going to the psychiatric ward. And I said, "Well, how did that go?" And he said, "Actually, I made a bunch of friends. And I can't wait to go back so I can see my friends again." And that broke my heart that Daniel went to a psychiatric ward to find friends, that he feels as if he wasn't able to have those relationships and then access those relationships at a time where he needed them. You see, it's more than just giving someone housing assistance or building housing and putting autism on the building. It's really about thinking through what are the supportive amenities that can be available at a property that can support someone to not just have a sense of belonging, but when times are dark, to have that space and place to reach out to people who know you and can intervene on your behalf. See, that's neuro-inclusive housing. Housing that has these additional human resources. Maybe it's planned social activities. Maybe it's just someone at a front desk 24/7. Somebody who connects people with the greater community that matches their interests. Our country is in dire need of better housing, from the design standpoint to be cognitively accessible, as well as those human resources through supportive amenities. I'm excited to say that the Autism Housing Network is now hosting webinars focused on developers to really help them through their journey and think through potential projects. The market analysis that we're providing clearly shows that there are barriers and concerns related to relationships and abuse and being able to access the community. The past US Surgeon General declared that there's an epidemic on loneliness in our population, in the US population, among neurotypicals. By creating housing that is accessible and better for individuals who have autism or other intellectual and developmental disabilities, we might be doing a better job at developing housing in neighborhoods for the neurotypical population as well. To be honest, we don't have a choice. There are over 1 million adults who are likely living with a caregiver over the age of 60. What's going to happen? I can tell you because we get those calls with the Autism Housing Network. We've been contacted by individuals who have had to go to the nursing facility with their family. And now I have a case manager calling saying, well, what do we do with this person? And they're completely disconnected from the system. It's going to take months to untangle an opportunity that really meets their needs and isn't just a forced placement. I've conducted focus groups on autistic people experiencing homelessness. This is not an uncommon occurrence. So what's our options? What's our choices? To create better housing for everyone, of course, to make a difference in the future. So we will, at the Autism Housing Network, continue to strive to make sure that this invisible population in the housing crisis is finally seen, and not just seen, but that we are able to have the data that shares what people need and what people want, so that they don't just have a roof over their head, but they find their spaces and places to belong. Thank you all for your support, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Isn't Desiree delightful? It is always a pleasure to work with her optimism, her upbeat personality, and her wealth of knowledge on the subject matter. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing with our social media, because we're trying to meet the demands and needs of many different portions of the autism community. We're going to be emphasizing things for the self-advocates, for parents, for siblings, caregivers, and then another that is kind of open to what's happening in the news or science or interesting articles. We're going to try to have 5 postings a week, one with each one of those subject matters. So however you enter into the world of autism, there should be something interesting for you. And we will be posting things about how you can get in on our social media, and we would encourage you to do so. And at the same time, please keep asking questions if you've got them, because we may be answering some of your questions on our social media as well. Now I would like to have you meet another dear friend, and she represents kind of 3 particular areas that we are working with. One, she is a self-advocate. She is an adult, obviously, but she is also a woman. And these are very interesting things all coming together, because for a very long time, girls and women were not being diagnosed as being on the spectrum. And recently, we've seen a huge uptick of adult women who have found that they are on the autism spectrum. And it's been very interesting. And in most cases, people are seeming so relieved because they understand why they have either felt just a side of the conversation, or they have wondered why they didn't feel like they fit in like everyone else. But now they're getting answers, and they're learning that there are coping mechanisms and there are supports in adulthood. And Shushu will tell you her fascinating story, along with something. She, I believe, is the only female big band leader in the nation. She and her husband have performed for numerous events for very interesting people up and down the East Coast with their big band. Now, I would like to present my friend, Shushu Scanlon.
So, when I was very small and I couldn't speak at all, I couldn't be around a lot of noise. I was given 5 baths a day just so I could alert myself. I wouldn't learn anything. I wouldn't roll over. I wouldn't play with toys. I hid under furniture. But my mother worked for a young, brilliant doctor who ran a rehabilitation center. And the doctor brought in some other people to see me because I was 4 years old and I still wasn't talking, and I was still hiding under things, and something was not right. And they spent several sessions with me, and my mother was told, which was really bizarre because we're talking in the 50s. It was odd enough to be diagnosed as autistic back then, but even odder to be diagnosed as autistic as a little girl. At the time, it was considered caused by cold mothering. So they would have taken me away and institutionalized me to protect me from my mother. Thus began a whole masquerade. So my mom would give me scripts so that I could get by. If someone said to me, "I really like your dress," I learned to say, "Thank you, I really like your clothes." And I learned to echo things back, and that got me through. My mother found out that if I dressed a certain way, I could take on a personality. Like I had my Cinderella dress and I had my Snow White dress. So I always was a lot frillier than the other kids who were just in their play clothes. Because when I put on my play clothes, I was a blob. I was just sitting in the corner. There was nothing to me because I didn't have a vehicle. So when I got in high school, my older sister signed me up for drama. And I was scared to death. But I was more scared of my older sister than I was of the drama club. So I joined the drama club, and in a few months I was president of the drama club, and I was the lead in all the shows, and I was just, and when I was on stage, I never wanted the attention. What I wanted was the connection. I wanted to be able to love people. And so I did that. After a while, I was reading an article in the Washington Post. It was an article on synesthesia. So I turned to my husband and woke him up. He was just starting to stir. And I said, "Don't you see patterns and colors when you listen to music?" And he laughed and said, "No, sweetheart, only angels do." So I had to do some research, and everything led to autism, sensory processing autism. And I went to my mother, and I told her what I found out. She burst out crying, and I've never seen her do that. And she apologized and told me the whole thing because my mother never told me. After I found out, I came out about it, and all of a sudden I went from people admiring my talent and the magic that I created on stage to pitying me. My mom never had any pity for me. She never protected me like there was anything wrong with me. I never had to fit in with the other kids or be like the other kids. And if anybody said anything mocking me or teasing me, she would just say, "You just wait." And she always believed I was going to be something fabulous. I never thought I was limited. She just always admired me and tried to teach me to be resourceful and create a life that worked for me. If I was going to give any advice to a young autistic woman, I would say, find out what you're good at. Know your unique magnificence and lean into that. There's no limit as long as you learn what it is that makes you thrive. And viciously, ferociously claim it. And make good choices. And love, of course.
I think you can see why Shushu has become a friend She's absolutely amazing. And thank you very, very much, Shushu, for sharing your story with us. It's an important one. We'll step on to one of the other segments that we're going to be emphasizing, and that is siblings. Siblings are often overlooked when there is autism in a household. They have many sacrifices that they make. Sometimes there's disruption in the household, and the person that is in need of the most direct help at the moment is the one that often gets the attention. There is a gentleman that I'm introducing today by the name of Walter Susskind. He has a brother who was on the spectrum, and when he was in the university at, I believe it was Boston, with my daughter, he began an organization for siblings, and it is continuing today. Now I'd like to present Walter Susskind.
Thank you, Jolynn. I'm honored to be here at the Autism After 21 virtual breakfast. As Jolynn has told you all, my name is Walter Susskind. I'm a 36-year-old man currently living in Brooklyn, New York. The reason I'm here, though, is I'm the older brother of an autistic man named Owen. And like so many of us in this room and that have spoken today, Owen has shaped my life, and I really wouldn't be the person I am without Owen. Owen was diagnosed when I was 5 years old, and from that time, like so many other siblings, we've been on our own unique journey. Owen is now living in independent living in Massachusetts, working multiple jobs. We couldn't be more proud of him, not just for his accomplishments, but really for who Owen is and what he gives to the world every single day. He's a great, smart, funny guy, and like any older brother, it's just been incredible to watch him grow and mature and bloom, and just to be there by his side for all that. Growing up, I didn't know a lot of other siblings like me. I often felt I was kind of the only person who had a brother like Owen. But in the last 10 years, I've been lucky enough to meet siblings of autistic people from all over the country, and it has been one of the most fulfilling aspects of my life. I think what I've learned during that time is there are so many of us out there, and we're all walking very parallel journeys, and there's an opportunity to learn from each other, to connect with each other, to nurture each other, with all the ultimate end goal of helping the star of our shows, our brothers and sisters, excel out in the world in whatever way that looks like for them. From a young age, I've watched my parents out in the world doing everything they can to make Owen's life as comfortable and as accessible as possible. They've been a role model for me, and I've watched them deftly navigate different obstacles, challenges, and seize opportunities in supporting Owen. I think for a lot of siblings, we watch our parents, and while we're often in awe of what they've done, it can also be sometimes intimidating, knowing that this responsibility in some way, shape, or form is going to exist for us up the road. They have been driving, I use an analogy, they've been driving this car around a race course for 80 miles an hour. And at some point, we're going to have to jump in that seat. And I think for a lot of us siblings, that idea can seem daunting. But I think talking to other siblings, what I've learned is none of us have to go it alone. And organizations like Madison House that are helping to make that road easier. And what I'm focused on in some of my day-to-day life is connecting with other siblings and figuring out ways that we can support each other. And one thing that's actually been incredibly helpful is meeting with older siblings that are 10, 15, 20 years up the road from where I am, and learning from their lived experience. Because the fact of the matter is, there is a big transition happening in the autism community. With so many diagnoses in the 80s and 90s, a generation of parents, I know many sitting probably in this crowd, who have been driving that car for all these years, are going to have to hand over the wheel to their sons and daughters to provide caregiving support. And I know for the entire family, this is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing in my family. I know it's not an easy thing in so many other families. There are emotions involved, there are logistics involved, but anything we can do to make that transition easier for siblings like us and for parents like you and for our brothers and sisters who are ultimately the captains of these teams who we're supporting it's important that we're doing it. And there's so many organizations like Madison House that are out there making lives for autistic people more empowered, richer, more active. And these are all organizations that I know are thinking about this issue of how to help the next generation of people providing care, like siblings. But it also extends, I think, beyond that. The idea of it really takes a village, because every family circumstance is going to be different. The number of siblings are going to be different. The extended family is going to be different. So I think they're just opportunities for us to get creative and for each family to think about, who is the team around my son or daughter? It could be aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, coworkers, but who can be there to make things easier, both for the autistic person, but also for the brother and sister who are going to be taking on these caregiving responsibilities. And while it's daunting in some ways, it's also exciting, because we're at this age when there's so many new tools and opportunities available to broaden that scope of what might be possible. Because ultimately, what I, as a brother, want for Owen is for him to live the most fulfilled life possible on his terms. And I'm excited about what is ahead. And I'm excited about connecting with as much of the community as possible who is already working on this and wants to continue to grow the tent, so we can make sure every autistic person has an opportunity to shine.
Thank you so much. I hope with Walter's comments, we'll take into mind often the families that are living in our neighborhoods that are dealing with autism, and sometimes including the siblings in some of the events when appropriate. So there is this sense of belonging. We all need to feel like we belong and that we're appreciated. Now, I would like to introduce another parent, but I would also like to introduce something that we have been working with, and it's one of the highlights of most of our events, and it happens to be the Arts for Autism. We feel that the arts are very important for a number of reasons, because if we can put people on stage that are either well-known performers or people that are learning to perform, and sometimes working together, whether they're on the autism spectrum and they're trying to learn piano or sing, to be side by side with a well-known pianist or another singer, and they can share time on the stage together. Is that going to create a new normal by seeing that we can do things together, that we can enjoy the arts together, that we can enjoy life together? We're going to be showing our art show, and it is something that we have been doing for a number of years. We have 21 works of art from across the country done by adults on the autism spectrum, and that will be shown in a few moments. But next, we're going to have a father who happens to be a very well-known performer and has performed in Les Miserables, Jean Valjean, touring the nation, and is a parent and is new to Arts for Autism as one of our new advisors. And I would like to have you welcome Delaney Bayless, and I think you'll enjoy the song tremendously.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dallin Bayless, and it's my honor to support the Madison House Autism Foundation. As the father of a son with autism, this is deeply personal for me. My teenage son, Nathan, is an incredibly brilliant, talented, good, sweet young man, and he already demonstrates some very professional level skills and talents in the areas of programming and design, and he has desires to be employed in these areas. As his parents, we have no doubt that he has the ability to be able to succeed, but we are very deeply concerned that he will not have those crucial resources that will be necessary to help him to be successful in his continued educational and future employment goals, which is why organizations like the Madison House Autism Foundation are so crucial, and why I'm so grateful to be supporting it today. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to sing at a benefit concert at Carnegie Hall for another organization that supports children with autism. And I decided to sing Bring Him Home from Les Miserables. Now, those of you who are familiar with that song, I think you'll understand the connection and why it was so applicable to my feelings as a parent for a son who deals with autism. I pray every day that my son will be successful, that he will have the support and the help and the assistance that he needs to succeed in this life and to have a fulfilling life. And so I'd like to share this recent recording of me singing Bring Him Home at the inaugurational ceremony for the Utah governor, Spencer Cox. As you listen, I hope that you'll consider how we can be an answer to the prayers of so many parents who have children who are on the spectrum. I believe that Madison House plays an incredible role in doing this. And so I'm so grateful to each of you for your support of this organization. And God bless you.
The summers die one by one, how soon they fly on, and I am old and will be gone. Bring him peace, bring him joy. He is young, he is only a boy. You can take, you can give. Let him be, let him live. If I die,
absolutely wonderful piece, and I'm so glad that he shared with us the full orchestra behind him as well. Thank you very, very much, Dallin. And now we will go into our art show in just a moment. But I think some of you may need to get off of the production this morning, and this may go just a little bit over the hour. But I wanted to say thank you so very much for being with us. Please check our websites, and if you have any other questions, and please, if you are in a position to be supportive of our work, we would deeply appreciate it. Now, as we have our art show playing, Aparna Sagana, who is a student at the University of Virginia, who is a very interesting woman, who is studying science, who is a poet, who is a volunteer, a strong academic, and she also works with instructing people in music. A lot of those individuals are people with disabilities or they're on the autism spectrum. But she has a beautiful voice herself, and she's going to be singing in the background as you are seeing the artwork of 21 adults from across the country. And I hope you'll see visually, in a way, their voice and understand the diversity, the complexity, and very often the wonderful insights that those with autism have afforded us. And if you can stay with us all the way through, it'd be wonderful. But thank you so much for being with us. Be well.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wander by wander, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride, a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say you were only dreaming. A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. Unbelievable sights, indescribable feeling, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. A whole new world, 100,000 things to see. I'm like a shooting star, I've come so far, I can't go back to where I used to be. Every turn a surprise,